Life is but a dream, they say, but how high will you?
Hello, everyone, and if you're here, that means that you are in Module 1. So welcome. So, in Module 1, what we're going to be discussing is how are we communicating? Okay, how are we communicating? But before we can get into the how, we need to talk about the what. Okay, what is communication? So, let's talk about what is communicating. All right, what is communicating? If you are paying attention in the introduction of this, right, in the last video, we said communicating was what? What did we say it was? Go ahead, I'll give you a few seconds. Five, four, three, two, one. Brrr. What is it? Very good. Good. So we said in it, very nice. Someone said expressing ourselves. Okay, so we're expressing ourselves, right? So communicating is expressing yourselves. Is that the only way to tell us what communicating means? What else could communicating mean? Anyone else? You, go ahead. Very nice. Good. Communicating, it can be talking. What else can it be? Good. What else? Give me one more. One more. Now, do we always have to talk when we are communicating? Do we have to always talk? Right, good, because we see that we can listen too. But how else? We're expressing ourselves, so how else can we communicate? Very good, through our bodies. Body lang. And we'll talk about that. That means body language. Okay? So we have one, two, three, four. Okay? We have listening, body language, talking, and expressing ourselves. Now, all of these, of course, are ways of expressing ourselves to communicate, right? How are we talking to each other? Are we being kind when we talk to each other? Are we yelling at each other? Right? How are we communicating? And that is so important. And not just in this module, but in life. Okay? How are we communicating with our parents? How are we communicating with our teachers? How are we communicating with our fellow students or our fellow coworkers, or how are we communicating in general, right? I don't want to have to I don't want to have to yell at you for you to understand what I'm saying. I shouldn't have to yell at you guys for you to understand me, right? I should be able to say something. I mean, boom, it's done, right? So every time you listen to me, you're just going to keep paying more and more attention because we're going to have so much fun learning all of this stuff. Are you ready? All right, so we discussed the four different ways of how we are communicating. Ooh. How do you communicate? I want you to think about that and I want you to write it down. So, we talked about these things, right? So, expressing ourselves, talking, listening, and body language. We talked about that. So, I want to talk about how are we communicating? What are some ways in which you talk? I'm going to wait. We're going to do this worksheet together. So, under each one, you should have three things. But so now that we've written one, two, and three for each, we are now ready for Module 2. We've set ourselves up for Module 2. So, in the meanwhile, I want you to be thinking of three different ways that we use these. These are four different ways that we're communicating. Now, I want you to think of what kind of ways and what kind of media are we using. Okay? So, I want you to think about that. I'll see you in Module 2. Okay?
All in all, we don't just teach our students to fly, we empower them to soar. And with that being said, what are you waiting for?